subscribers, welcome to another episode, and in this one we're going to do a preview of Jamaica versus Curaçao. This is indeed a top of the table clash, and if there ever was a game that's do or die, it's this one, because if Jamaica is to secure an automatic place at World Cup 2026, they need to win this game. And to throw the icing on the cake, it's at home, as it was so many years ago when Jamaica made their maiden appearance or maiden qualification for the World Cup. But before I go any further, remember, smash the like button and subscribe to Halftime TV if you have not yet done so. Also, I will have the link in the description below to our fundraiser to rebuild Lucea following Hurricane Melissa. You can check it out and you can donate as well. No matter how small it is truly appreciated. Now back to the football. Now the Jamaican national team, they're in a very precarious position because Coach Steve McLaren indicated after the previous game that he made the changes with an eye on this particular game against Curaçao. He made the changes because he didn't want players to miss out, players that had cards. He didn't want those players to miss out on the final game. And in addition to those changes, that's the reason why he didn't give them any game time whatsoever. An excuse that I think doesn't make any sense, because you want, they like to say a bird in the hand is better than two in the bushes. And I don't think Steve McLaren fully grasped the concept of that. But in this particular game, it will be extremely tricky because Curaçao, they have a similar record to Jamaica. The only difference is they've drawn an extra game, but they are unbeaten. Jamaica, on the other hand, have conceded 3 goals in these World Cup qualifiers. 3 goals in these World Cup qualifiers. And guess what? 2 of those 3 goals were scored by Curaçao. So both teams are defensively sound. Both teams are very good at the attacking end of the spectrum. But as things stand right now, Curaçao is in a better position, because if they as much as get a draw at the National Stadium, they're through automatically to World Cup 2026. What that would mean is Curaçao would be the smallest nation to have qualified for the World Cup. And Coach Dick Advocaat, he's done brilliant with these folks, and threw it in there that Dick Advocaat had to leave the national team. Based on reports that we're receiving, he had to leave the national team due to a family emergency. So I hope everything is good. I hope his family is okay. But I trust that his lieutenant or his second in command is good enough and competent enough to get the job done for him. Dick Advocaat has a very decorated coaching career. He has been in coaching / management since the 1980s. That's well before I was born. And there's a similar situation with Coach Steve McLaren as well. The only difference is one is Dutch and one is English. And Dick Advocaat, I wouldn't even say he's managed at a bigger level, but he seems to be, in my opinion, more tactically sound than Coach Steve McLaren. And you can agree, you can disagree, you can continue that conversation below this video. But overall, I think Coach Dick Advocaat is a better manager than Steve McLaren, and it's showing in this Curaçao team, because if the roles were reversed, I don't think what Dick Advocaat is doing with Team Curaçao, I don't think Coach Steve McLaren could do that. But anyway, to the football, Curaçao and Jamaica, they haven't played that many times. 3 meetings, 1 win each and a draw. I think Jamaica, going into this game, they have the bigger reputation. They have the bigger plethora of stars. And although we want to say, hey, it doesn't matter, the names don't play football, it doesn't on the day the ball is run, all of that, it matters tomorrow night. It matters because these big name players, all these foreign based and local based, these players that we've been hyping over the last couple of years, this is their moment. This is the time that they need to step up and they need to make it count. So all these Instagram lives and clips of them doing this and doing that, it doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Nothing matters. The 90 minutes at the National Stadium will be all that matters come tomorrow evening as Jamaica vies for a place. And I don't even want to go there, but looking over at the playoffs and the team that are currently waiting for Jamaica, should it get to that in the playoffs, it doesn't look very good. And I think if we can avoid the playoffs, we avoid it. That's my opinion. I think we should try our best to avoid the playoffs in every way possible. And in doing that, we need to ensure that we win our game. We need to ensure that we win our game. So the teams that are in the playoffs right now, we have Congo. We have Congo. We have Bolivia. We have New Caledonia. Right? And of those teams, bar Congo, ranked below Jamaica, but we've seen what Bolivia has done coming out of that South American Confederation. We've seen what they've done to the likes of Brazil and all these teams. They've been exceptional. They're very robust, they're very physical, and they know how to score goals. So I think we should try and avoid this in any way possible. Like, Jamaica won't be placed. Should we end up in a situation where we're at the playoffs, we won't be placed in a group, or we won't be paired with a team from CONCACAF. So any team that we're getting, it would be outside of CONCACAF. And currently the teams outside of CONCACAF, I won't even say they look daunting, because the Jamaican team is capable of beating any team on their day. But Bolivia, Congo, and New Caledonia, based on what I've seen and what I've heard of them, we want to avoid that. From the Asian Federation, we have Iraq and we have the United Arab Emirates. That one is still being determined. But Jamaica versus Curaçao, it promises to be a showstopper. It promises to attract the attention of Jamaicans near and far. And if there ever was a moment that Jamaica needs this boost, if ever there's a moment that Jamaica needs this lift in morale, it is now. All the Jamaican fans will be gathered at the National Stadium, hoping that they'll witness history, as was the case so many years ago. And I hope the Reggae Boys, they see it that way as well. The powers that be, I hope they make the right decisions. I hope they send the right players out there on the pitch. I need to see Whisper out there. We need to see Shamar Nicholson, Jamaica's most prolific striker in World Cup qualification, especially among this batch. We need to see Shamar Nicholson out there. So I don't want any excuses from the coach. Shamar Nicholson needs to not only play, but he needs to start this game against Curaçao, because it's a game that Jamaica needs to win. And as we've seen from Shamar Nicholson a couple of years ago against Canada, when it came to a moment where Jamaica needed to win, he stepped up, and I expect him to be stepping up again. So if Jamaica is to win this game, Shamar Nicholson needs to start. Shamar Nicholson needs to start, because if he starts, I am almost 100% positive that he will provide not only that leadership, but he will get on the score sheet, or at least give the defenders something to think about throughout the game. Overall, I think this one will be very tight, very, very tight. My head is saying it will be a draw, but my heart is saying Jamaica 2-1. Based on the forms of both teams coming into this particular game, it's pointing to a 1-1 draw. However, as a Jamaican supporter and as a fan of the Reggae Boys, a 2-1 victory would suffice at the National Stadium on Tuesday evening. But I'm going to turn it over to you, the viewers and subscribers, to hear what your predictions are. Do you think Jamaica will secure that automatic spot to World Cup 2026 at the National Stadium on Tuesday? Let's hear it below. And don't forget, like, share, and subscribe. Until next time.